Imagine you've just taken a wrong turn through time. You hit the water with a splash. It's 80 million years ago. Now ask yourself, how long would you survive? 3 seconds? Maybe 10? Or would you only have enough time to see a massive, dark shadow rising from the abyss before the lights go out? Welcome to the Western Interior Seaway. This was once a vast, ancient ocean that split North America in two. To the west lay Laramidia. To the east was Appalachia. You are standing where the center of the United States should be, but right now, it is the most dangerous place on the planet. In these waters, every resident was a biological marvel, perfected over millions of years to be the ultimate hunter. But don't think you're safe just because you stay near the sand. The real danger doesn't wait for you in the deep blue. The nightmare begins much sooner. It starts right at the water's edge, in the very first few feet of the shoreline. Along the shallow coasts where rivers met the sea, something enormous often waited just beneath the surface. The water looked calm. The shoreline seemed safe. But hidden in the muddy shallows was one of the most formidable predators, Deinosuchus. This giant crocodilian lived roughly 80 to 73 million years ago, near the end of the Cretaceous period. Its name means terrible crocodile, and the description is fitting. Most adults were around 26 to 33 feet long and weighed about 6 tons. However, the largest fragmentary fossils of Deinosuchus riograndensis suggest that the biggest individuals were over 39 feet long and may have weighed around 9.4 tons. That would make it almost twice the length of the biggest crocodiles living today. Its skull alone could measure about 5 feet long. Inside that massive head was a set of thick, cone-shaped teeth designed for gripping and crushing. Scientists estimate that its bite force may have exceeded 4,000 pounds of force. That level of strength made it one of the most powerful shoreline predators of its time. But size and strength were only part of its advantage. Deinosuchus was also a patient ambush hunter. Much like modern crocodiles, it could remain nearly invisible in cloudy water. Only the eyes and nostrils sat above the surface. For anything approaching the water's edge, the attack would have come with almost no warning. Its diet likely included fish, large turtles, and other animals that moved through the coastal waters. Fossils of tyrannosaur relatives like Appalachiosaurus and Albertosaurus bear bite marks that match the teeth of Deinosuchus. The evidence suggests that brutal encounters once took place between these predators. In a world filled with prehistoric creatures, the shoreline was a dangerous boundary between land and sea, and Deinosuchus controlled that boundary. As the shoreline fades behind you, the water grows deeper, the sunlight weakens, the bottom disappears into blue darkness. And one of the fastest hunters in these waters was Xiphactinus. At first glance, it almost looks like a giant shark, but this was not a shark at all. It was a massive bony fish, one of the largest predatory fish of the late Cretaceous seas. Most adults measured 16 to 20 feet long. Its long body and powerful tail let it launch sudden bursts of speed through open water. But the most striking feature was its mouth. Rows of sharp teeth lined its jaws. Each tooth could reach up to 2 inches long. They were not meant for chewing. They were built for grabbing prey and swallowing it whole. Among the many prehistoric creatures that lived in the western interior seaway, Xiphactinus was known as an aggressive hunter. It chased down smaller fish, squid, and anything slow enough to catch. And sometimes, its appetite got the better of it. One of the most famous fossils ever discovered sits today in the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. Inside the ribcage of a 14-foot Xiphactinus, scientists found another fish almost completely intact. That fish was Gatekeeper arcuatus, over 6 feet long. The fish inside likely struggled violently, damaging the internal organs of Xiphactinus. Both animals died together and remained fossilized for more than 80 million years. But in the western interior seaway, large sharks such as Cretoxyrhina and Squalocorax patrol the sea. Even Xiphactinus could become a target. The giant fish that was once a hunter could quickly turn into a meal. In fact, the remains of a Xiphactinus have been discovered inside the fossilized stomach of a Cretoxyrhina specimen, found by the fossil collector Charles Hazelius Sternberg. It is a clear reminder that in this ancient ocean, the line between predator and prey was always thin. As you move farther from shore, the water becomes deeper and quieter. But that calm is misleading. This part of the sea belonged to an army of ancient sharks. One of the most powerful among them was Cretoxyrhina. Scientists often call it the Ginsu shark. The nickname comes from its teeth, long, thin, and razor sharp. Just like the famous kitchen knives, they were built to slice cleanly through flesh. An adult Cretoxyrhina could reach about 23 feet in length and weigh close to 11,000 pounds. That made it one of the largest sharks of its time. In many ways, it looked similar to the modern great white shark. Its body was streamlined, built for speed, and powered by a strong tail designed for long pursuits in open water. But Cretoxyrhina also attacked bigger prey, including mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, other sharks, and even flying reptiles such as pterosaurs that came too close to the surface. Most of the time, Cretoxyrhina preferred warm, open seas. Yet fossils show that some populations may have tolerated water temperatures as low as 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 degrees Celsius, far colder than many marine predators can handle today. Part of its hunting success came from its eyes. The eye sockets of Cretoxyrhina were unusually large. In fact, they made up nearly 1/3 of the skull's total length. That suggests excellent vision, a crucial advantage when tracking large prey through the dim blue waters of the western interior seaway. But not every shark hunted the same way. Another common predator here was Squalocorax. Unlike Cretoxyrhina, this shark relied less on sight. Its eye sockets were smaller, but its sense of smell was likely far stronger. That made it well suited for locating injured animals or carcasses drifting through the water. Together, these sharks formed a constant patrol across the ancient sea. Yet among these hunters was a shark that played a completely different role. Meet Tylosaurus. At first glance, it looked like a typical large shark. But its teeth told a very different story. Instead of sharp blades, Tylosaurus had broad, flat, crushing plates. These teeth were designed to break open hard shells. While giants like the whale shark and the basking shark filter plankton using specialized gill rakers, Tylosaurus used brute force. Its jaws contained hundreds of crushing teeth, up to about 550 in total. Around 220 lined the lower jaw, while 260 sat in the upper jaw. With that kind of dental armor, even the thick shells of giant clams and armored sea creatures were no match. So in this ancient sea, the weapons varied. Some sharks carried blades built to slice. Others carried massive plates built to crush. But that raises an important question. In a world filled with predators, armed with cutting teeth and crushing jaws, how could any creature possibly defend itself?
The answer was simple: become a fortress. One of the most remarkable examples was Archelon, the largest sea turtle ever discovered. The biggest known specimen reached about 15 feet from head to tail and weighed roughly 2.2 to 3.2 tons. In the warm waters of the western interior seaway, this giant moved slowly but confidently through the open ocean. At first glance, Archelon looked similar to modern sea turtles, but a closer look revealed something very different. Instead of the hard, fully solid shell seen in many turtles today, Archelon had a leathery, flexible carapace stretched over a framework of strong bones. This structure reduced weight while still providing protection. Along the center of the shell ran a row of small ridges, each about 1 to 2 inches high, giving the shell a slightly rough, armored texture. Archelon possessed a strong, curved beak designed for crushing tough food. The jaws worked like powerful shears, allowing the turtle to break open hard-shelled animals such as crustaceans and large marine invertebrates. In a sea full of predators, this giant turtle was also a capable feeder. But survival in the open ocean required more than armor and strong jaws. Archelon also had massive front flippers, far larger than those of most modern turtles. These powerful limbs acted like underwater wings, generating the force needed to move across vast distances of open sea. If a predator approached, Archelon could push forward with powerful bursts of speed, using its size and strength to escape into deeper water. For many predators, that combination of size, mobility, and protective shell made Archelon a difficult target. Even large sharks would likely hesitate before attacking such a massive turtle. But the ocean of the late Cretaceous had hunters that were built for challenges like this. Some predators were large enough and powerful enough to break through even these defenses. And those hunters belonged to a group of marine reptiles that ruled the seas. So even a 2-ton living fortress like Archelon could still become prey. When even these prehistoric creatures grew wary, it meant you were about to face the true monsters of the ancient seas. Among the many prehistoric creatures that ruled the western interior seaway, Tylosaurus stood near the very top of the food chain. Early members of this group appeared in North America during the Turonian and Coniacian stages around 90 to 86 million years ago. One early species, Tylosaurus nepiolocus, was relatively modest in size. Most individuals measured about 16 to 23 feet long and weighed between 440 and 1,100 pounds. Some individuals reached 43 to 46 feet in length, making them among the largest marine reptiles of their era. Some scientists believe these giants may have grown even larger. Its skull alone was enormous, measures about 5.6 feet long. In fact, the skull typically made up about 13 to 14% of the animal's total body length. And inside that skull was a remarkable set of teeth. Tylosaurus carried 2 premaxillary teeth at the front, followed by 12 to 13 teeth in the upper jaw and 13 in the lower jaw. Even more unusual were the pterygoid teeth, located deeper inside the mouth. These extra teeth likely helped pull prey farther back into the throat once it had been captured. In other words, once something was caught, escape was unlikely. But the most unusual feature of Tylosaurus was not its teeth. It was the solid, elongated snout at the front of its skull. Some scientists, including the paleontologist Dale Russell, suggested that this reinforced snout may have been used like a battering ram. A fast strike could stun prey before the jaws closed around it. With a body built like a living torpedo, Tylosaurus could move quickly through open water. That made it an effective hunter of many different animals. Fossil evidence shows that its diet was surprisingly diverse. Inside the stomach contents of one specimen discovered in 1987, researchers found remains of several animals, including another smaller mosasaur, the diving seabird Hesperornis, a large fish known as Bananagemius, and possibly even a shark. Tylosaurus was not just a hunter. It was an opportunistic apex predator capable of targeting almost any animal it encountered. Most of the time, it patrolled the open ocean far from land, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles across the ancient sea. Scientists estimate it could roam waters as far as 250 miles, 400 kilometers, from the coast. In this vast marine world, few animals were safe from its reach. Tylosaurus was already the ultimate nightmare. But even in this dangerous ocean, there was still one predator larger, heavier, and even more powerful. A creature that would eventually claim the very top of the food chain. This was Mosasaurus hoffmanii. Among the many prehistoric creatures that dominated the late Cretaceous oceans, Mosasaurus stood at the very top of the food chain. The largest individuals of this species are estimated to have reached about 58 feet in length. With a long body and a powerful tail built for propulsion, Mosasaurus moved through the water with impressive speed. One interesting feature of Mosasaurus was its eyesight. Fossil evidence suggests that it likely had excellent vision, which helped it detect prey in open water. This ability may have compensated for a relatively weak sense of smell, meaning Mosasaurus probably relied more on sight than scent while hunting. Fossils show that Mosasaurus lived across a vast marine region. Its remains have been discovered throughout much of the Atlantic Ocean and nearby ancient seas, including the waters that once covered the center of North America. Even so, Mosasaurus did not live alone in these waters. Powerful marine reptiles such as Prognathodon and Tylosaurus likely competed for similar prey. Yet, Mosasaurus remained one of the most formidable hunters in the ocean. Because of its weaker sense of smell, scientists believe it was unlikely to rely on scavenging. Instead, it was probably an active predator that hunted large animals directly. By the end of the Cretaceous period, Mosasaurs had reached their greatest diversity and ruled oceans across the planet. For millions of years, animals like Mosasaurus dominated these ancient seas. But looking at these giant predators of North America raises an intriguing question. What would happen if another massive hunter suddenly entered this dangerous ocean? What if Spinosaurus, the largest known carnivorous dinosaur from North Africa, somehow wandered into these waters? Among many prehistoric creatures, Spinosaurus was already a remarkable predator. It lived near rivers, deltas, and shallow coastal areas, where its long jaws and cone-shaped teeth helped it catch fish. But the western interior seaway was a very different environment. Near the shoreline, danger would appear almost immediately. In the shallow marshes and river mouths waited the giant crocodilian Deinosuchus, a powerful ambush hunter that ruled the coastal waters. Even if Spinosaurus managed to move past that threat, the open ocean would present an even greater challenge. Farther offshore lived the massive marine reptile Mosasaurus hoffmanii. Compared with these fully aquatic hunters, Spinosaurus would likely seem slow and unfamiliar in deep water. Here, it would no longer be the dominant predator. Instead, it would simply be an outsider trying to survive. It reveals a striking truth. This was one of the most complex ecosystems in the ancient world. For millions of years, it was one of the most intense survival arenas Earth had ever seen. Fish hunted fish, sharks chased marine reptiles, and giants like Mosasaurus hoffmanii ruled the open sea. Even near the shoreline, the massive crocodilian Deinosuchus waited patiently for the right moment. But nature never keeps a throne forever. Today, their world survives only as layers of limestone beneath places like Kansas. Adaptation is the key to survival, but dominance is always temporary. This is Fastra Science, where we explore the mysterious history of prehistoric creatures. If you had a ticket to travel back in time, would you dare to swim in this deadly sea and face its true rulers? Or would you prefer to observe them safely through the quiet pages of fossil history?